TOW discovery. Welcome to my channel. Tank T-72. The T-72 is a main battle tank MBT of the Soviet Union, produced in 1971 and introduced in 1977. Although it has a shape very similar to the T-64, the T-72 was developed by engineers at the Uralvagonzavod factory from the chassis of the T-62, also from Uralvagonzavod combined with advanced technical features from the T-64. The T-72 quickly became the main battle tank of the Soviet Army in the 1970s, and was a source of pride for the Soviet armored forces. As soon as it was introduced, contemporary tanks like the M60A3, Patton, and Leopard I became obsolete. However, its time in service was not long. Since the late 1980s, the early versions of it have become outdated compared to tanks like the T-80U, M1 Abrams, Leopard II, and Challenger. Nevertheless, the modernized versions of the T-72, such as the T-72BM Rugatka and T-72B3, are still considered some of the most modern tanks in the world. One modernized version of the T-72 is the T-90, which is one of the most advanced tanks in the world in the 2010s. Currently, the T-72 is still used relatively widely in 40 countries with various versions from old to new, and it is even considered a formidable opponent to modern Western tanks. Russia itself is still using thousands of T-72 tanks, and is continuing to upgrade them to serve in its military. The T-72 has participated in many wars in Europe and around the world, such as the Lebanon War in 1982, the First and Second Chechen Wars, the Kosovo War, the Gulf War in 1991, the Syrian War in 2014. Specifications of the Russian T-72 tank. Type: Main battle tank MBT. Main producing country: Soviet Union and Russia. Weight: 41 tons for T-72, 41.5 tons for T-72M, 44.5 tons for T-72B, 44.5 tons for T-72S. Length: 6.9 meters. Width: 3.6 meters. Height: 2.2 meters. Crew: 3 members. Weaponry: main gun, 125mm 2 of 46mm smoothbore cannon, capable of firing guided anti-tank missiles ATACMS 9M119s for NATO, at 11 sniper through the cannon. 1 12.7mm NSVRV or DHAHA heavy machine gun on the turret. 1 coaxial 7.62mm machine gun. Power to weight ratio: 19.1 horsepower or ton for T-72, 20.5 horsepower or ton for T-72B, 24.9 horsepower or ton for T-72B3M. Operational range: 450 kilometers to 460 kilometers, 600 kilometers to 900 kilometers with auxiliary fuel tank depending on the version. Speed: 60 kilometers per hour on flat roads and 45 kilometers per hour on rough roads. The T-72 quickly became the popular main battle tank of the Soviet Red Army and many armies around the world, including some major capitalist countries. According to Soviet calculations, the T-72 is a very efficient design based on the criteria of performance versus cost. The combat capability of the T-72B is only about 10% less than that of the T-80U, while its cost is only one-third in 1986 prices. The T-72B cost only 280,000 rubles, while the T-80U cost up to 824,000 rubles. On the turret, there is a 12.7mm NSVRV heavy machine gun mounted on a rotating platform, but there is no automatic firing system in the vehicle. Additionally, there is a coaxial 7.62mm machine gun. T-80 tank. The T-80 is a main battle tank MBT designed and produced in the former Soviet Union and manufactured in Russia. The T-80 is based on the T-64, while incorporating features from the later T-72 and changing the engine to a gas turbine. When it entered service in 1976, it was the first production tank powered solely by a turbine. The chief designer of the T-80 was Soviet engineer Nikolai Popov. The T-80U was last produced in 2001 at a factory in Omsk, Russia. In 2023, the CEO of Uralvagonzavod announced that production would be restarted. The T-80, a diesel engine variant of Ukraine, continues to be produced in Ukraine. The T-80 and its variants are in service in Belarus, Cyprus, Egypt, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Russia, South Korea, Ukraine, and Uzbekistan. Ukraine has further developed the T-80 into the T-84. The project to build the first turbine-powered tank in the Soviet Union began in 1949. Its designer was A.Ch. Starostienko, who worked at the Kirov factory in Leningrad. This tank was never produced because the available turbine engines were of very poor quality. In 1955, two prototypes of a 1,000 horsepower 746Q turbine engine were manufactured at the same factory under the direction of G.A.O. Globler. 2 years later, a team led by Joseph Kotin created two prototypes of the Object 278 tank. Both are a combination of the heavy tank IS-7 and the T-10, equipped with a GTD-1 turbine engine, weighing 53.5 tons, and armed with a 130mm M65 tank gun. The turbine engine allows the tank to reach a maximum speed of 57.3 km per hour 35.6 mph. However, with only 1,950 liters of fuel on board, their operational range is limited to 300 km 190 miles. In the 2022 Russia-Ukraine war, the T-80 was not used for its intended purpose, large-scale conventional warfare, in Europe. Until 2022, it was deployed in the context of political and economic instability in Russia during the 1990s. Most T-80 MBTs are owned by Russia, although Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan have inherited many of these tanks. In 1995, the number of T-80 tanks increased to about 5,000. But decreased to 3,500 by 1998. The Russian Army has 3,044 T-80 tanks and variants in service, and 1,456 in reserve as of 2008. At least 460 T-80U tanks are in service with the 2nd Tamanskaya Guards Motor Rifle Division and the 4th Kantemirovskaya Guards Motor Rifle Division. A T-80 BUV is on display at the Kubinka Tank Museum, and a T-80U is on display at an outdoor museum in Saratov. The T-80Us have recently been seen at weapon exhibitions in Russia, such as VTV. During Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Russian forces used T-80 tanks along with T-72 and T-90. Some were equipped with temporary steel mesh on top of the turret, nicknamed cage armor by internet users. These are said to be suitable for countering top attack projectiles, such as the FGM-148 Javelin and loitering munitions. Later in the war, these cages were preserved and reattached to more tanks as air-dropped munitions became increasingly common on the battlefield. As of December 17, 2024, at least 1,035 T-80 tanks of various variants have been visually confirmed as destroyed, damaged, abandoned, or captured. Among these, there are 4 T-80B, 644 T-80 BUV, 4 T-80 BVK, 66 T-80 BUV, Ober, 2022, 99 T-80U, 2 T-80 UK, 7 T-80 U1, 1 T-80 M2, 138 T-80 BUV-EM, 44 T-80 BUV-EM, Ober, 2022, and 26 remaining units are unidentified variants. T-90 tank. The T-90 is one of the modern main battle tanks in service with the Russian Armed Forces. It was produced in limited numbers in 1993 and officially entered service in the Russian military in 1995. Based on the first prototype, known by the codename Object 188. The original T-90 is a deeply modernized version of the T-72, incorporating many design features from the T-80. Initially named upgraded T-72, it was renamed T-90 in 1992. From 2001 to 2010, according to Russian statistics, the T-90 was the best-selling main battle tank in the world. However, since the end of 2011, the Russian military has stopped ordering additional T-90s to switch to purchasing the more modern T-14 Armata tank. On the other hand, Russia is also using many technologies from the T-90 to upgrade and modernize thousands of T-72 and T-80 tanks that are still in storage, in order to save costs, make use of them, and also for export. Nevertheless, the T-90 production line continues to operate at a high level to meet the export demands of countries in need. The T-90 is the first tank in the world equipped with a 5-layer protection system. The first layer is the Nikita camouflage system to reduce the likelihood of detection by binoculars, radar, or infrared signals. The second layer is the T-80 electro-optical active defense system that jams laser-guided missiles, infrared, and disrupts target display systems. The third layer is the active defense system arena, designed to intercept anti-tank missiles before they strike the vehicle. The fourth layer is the externally mounted explosive reactive armor, and the fifth layer is the armor shell made of a combination of high-strength steel and composite materials. This was developed before the T-14 Armata was introduced. The T-90 is considered the tank with the best defensive capabilities in the world. The E-Mount 7 electric mine protection system has also been tested on the T-90, but it has not yet been widely installed on operational T-90s. According to the ranking by the military website Military Today USA of the top 10 best tanks in the world in 2015, the T-90 ranked 10th, while another Russian tank, the Armata, ranked 5th, and the American M1A2 Abrams ranked 3rd. However, many factors, such as the actual capabilities of the armor, are kept secret by countries, so this ranking is based solely on widely published specifications. According to the website China.org.cn, in 2012, the T-90 ranked 10th among the strongest tanks in the world at that time, standing behind both the Type 96 and Type 99 of China, as well as the M1A2 SCP of the United States. However, according to National Interest USA, such rankings need to be reassessed after the T-90, M1 Abrams, and Leopard 2 have experienced real combat in the Middle East. There, a series of M1 and Leopard 2 tanks were set on fire by anti-tank missiles, while the T-90 demonstrated impressive bullet resistance. Consequently, the T-90 was ranked by National Interest as one of the top 5 modern tanks in 2016. The T-90 still retains the smoothbore 125mm 2-46 main gun, an upgraded version of the anti-tank gun strut that has appeared on the T-72 and T-80 models. The cannon barrel is 6 meters long, 48 times the caliber of the shell. The elevation angle of the cannon ranges from -6 to 13.5 degrees. Compared to the previous 125mm 2-46 cannon equipped on the T-64 and T-72, the 2-46 M5 cannon, the lifespan of the barrel has been increased, achieving 1,200 standard shots or 500 shots of AFS rounds. The combustion chamber pressure has risen to 608 bar to fire the new type of AFS rounds. The dispersion of the rounds has decreased by 15-20, and the accuracy when firing while moving has improved by 1.7 times. The T-90M version, introduced in 2016, is expected to use the 2AT-21M cannon, which also has a caliber of 125mm but a longer barrel length, 7 meters compared to 6 meters, allowing it to fire new types of AFS armor-piercing rounds with greater penetration and approximately 15-17 more accuracy. Compared to the German 120mm L55 cannon, the most powerful tank gun of its time in the West, the 280-1M generates 17% more projectile kinetic energy, 24 mJ compared to 13 mJ. According to the manufacturer's statement, The muzzle velocity of the 280-21M's aft round reaches 2,050 meters per second, which is 20% higher than the 1,750 meters per second of the German 120mm L55 cannon. The effective direct firing range of the 280-21M cannon reaches 4,700 meters, while the German 120mm L55 cannon, according to the Russians, only reaches 4,000 meters. The main gun can fire armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot aft rounds, high-explosive anti-tank heat rounds, high-explosive fragmentation frag rounds, as well as time-fused bombs, and 9M119 reflex anti-tank guided missiles, also known as AT-11 Sniper by NATO. The 9M119 Reflex is a missile with a semi-automatic laser guidance system and a hollow charge warhead capable of penetrating targets with protective steel armor to 950mm thick, and it can take down low-flying helicopters. The missile can destroy targets at a range of approximately 100 meters to 5-6 kilometers, and can move to the farthest position within 17.5 seconds. The 9M119 Reflex can hit targets with a maximum speed of 70 km per hour, and the permissible speed of the T-90 when firing the missile is between 0 and 30 km per hour. Thank you for watching. Remember, like, subscribe and share.